Every night when you look up, the stars seem to stretch forever. You might follow them with your eyes, past constellations, past faint clusters of light, and wonder softly, does it ever stop? Is there an edge, a border, a final curtain of black beyond which nothing lies? Or does the sky, like a thought, go on forever? Welcome to AstraFlow. Here, science drifts like starlight, and curiosity becomes calm. Tonight, let your thoughts slow down, your breathing find its rhythm, and your mind float through wonder. Before we begin, I'd love to know where you're listening from. Are you lying in bed under city lights? Or watching the stars from somewhere quiet? Tell me in the comments. It's always peaceful to imagine the AstraFlow community scattered across the world, drifting together through the same sky. And if this calm journey brings you peace, you can gently support AstraFlow by liking this video or subscribing. It helps this little corner of the cosmos keep glowing. Now, let's begin tonight's voyage into the quiet story of the universe's end. Imagine standing on an endless plain beneath a velvet sky. The horizon fades into mist, and there's no wall, no boundary, only distance folding into more distance. That is the universe itself, a space so vast that our minds, evolved to measure footsteps and days, can barely hold it. The galaxies we see are islands of light scattered through that ocean, but beyond them, beyond even what light has had time to reach us, lies more, always more. The question, does the universe have an end, is both scientific and deeply human. We ask it not because we expect a wall, but because we long for shape, for something we can understand, touch, or circle on a map. We want to know where the story stops, even when that story is made of stars. Tonight, we'll drift through time and light, through theory and silence. We'll trace the universe from its first breath to its most distant future. And somewhere along the way, we'll realize that perhaps endings aren't what they seem. That even in stillness, everything continues to flow. So breathe slowly, let your shoulders sink. The horizon is infinite, but tonight you don't have to reach it. You only have to drift toward it, gently, calmly, like a thought fading into sleep. We are creatures of edges. We build fences, draw borders, name shorelines, and trace the sky into constellations. To us, meaning often begins where something ends. A mountain ends where the sky begins. A life ends where memory lingers. And so it feels natural to ask, where does the universe end? The question is less about physics and more about the quiet desire for completion. When we imagine the cosmos, we picture it like a vast room, an enormous dome, a black sea with an unseen rim. But the truth is stranger and softer. The universe may not have an outside at all. It may not even make sense to speak of beyond. For space itself isn't a container. It's a fabric, stretching and curving, not inside anything, not surrounded by anything else. Still, the question remains beautiful. It reminds us that curiosity is the most human instinct of all. Somewhere deep in our minds, we need to know how far existence reaches. Even if we can't walk there, we can dream toward it. This is why our ancestors mapped stars, why telescopes turn night into revelation, and why we, lying under modern skies, still feel the same smallness and wonder. To ask if the universe has an end is to admit that we too want to find where we belong within it. And perhaps that's the quiet secret behind this question, that when we gaze into endlessness, we're really searching for the border of ourselves, the edge where thought meets silence, the point where knowing becomes peace. The universe is not a painting finished long ago. It's a story still unfolding, a sentence that has never stopped being written. Every second that passes, galaxies drift farther apart, light stretches, space itself expands, not into something, but as something. From the instant of the Big Bang, The cosmos has been in motion, like a breath that never fully exhales. What we see in the night sky isn't a static picture but an ever-changing memory. The light reaching our eyes tonight left its stars millions, sometimes billions of years ago. Each photon is a traveller from the past whispering how things once were. This means the universe we see is not the one that exists now. It's a museum of light, a record of cosmic moments preserved in motion. Somewhere out there, stars have already died whose light has not yet arrived. New ones have formed in places we'll never see. The story continues, whether or not we can read every page. Scientists call it expansion, but the word feels too mechanical for something so graceful. Space is not exploding outward. It's quietly unfolding, like ink spreading in water, like ripples widening across a still pond. The fabric of reality itself is stretching, carrying everything within it, galaxies, stars, and us, farther from one another, yet part of the same single motion. When you breathe in now, you join that rhythm. Your breath expands your chest the way space expands itself. The same physical laws that govern galaxies govern you. There's a certain peace in knowing that the universe isn't a finished structure, but an ongoing act of creation, a flow that never ends, a story still being written in light. Before the beginning, there was no before. Time itself had not yet begun. There was no dark, no silence, no emptiness, because those words only make sense within something. The birth of the universe wasn't an explosion inside space, it was the birth of space and time themselves. In that first unimaginable instant, everything, all energy, all matter, all potential, was condensed into something smaller than a grain of dust, then unfolded in every direction at once. It wasn't expanding into space, it was creating space as it expanded. When we imagine the Big Bang, we often picture a bright blast in the void, but there was no void waiting. The Big Bang created the stage upon which the play could exist. It was not light bursting into darkness, it was the very creation of light and darkness themselves. Every moment since then, every atom, every heartbeat, every star ignited, has been the continuation of that first pulse. Physicists call it space-time, an interwoven fabric where time is a dimension just like distance. When the universe expands, it isn't stretching through something else, it's stretching itself. And everything within it moves along that flow. Galaxies carried outward like dust motes in a glowing tide. It's strange to think that we, made of such ordinary matter, are built from that first fire. The carbon in our breath, the iron in our blood, all born from ancient fusion, from the echo of the beginning. When you close your eyes, you can almost feel it. That faint hum, that original rhythm, still vibrating somewhere deep within your atoms. You're part of the same expansion, the same unfolding, the same creation that began the universe. There was never truly a beginning in time. There was the beginning of time. And from that instant onward, everything has been moving, flowing, becoming. The universe has been expanding for almost 14 billion years, and yet its motion is not violent. It's serene, more like a slow exhale than an explosion. Every galaxy drifts away from every other, carried gently by the stretching of space itself. The distances between them grow, not because they're flying apart through emptiness, but because the fabric beneath them is unfolding. Imagine dots drawn on the surface of a balloon. As the balloon inflates, the dots move apart, yet none of them are rushing through the rubber. The surface itself is stretching. That is how our universe breathes. Each second of that breath gives rise to more space, more distance, more silence between stars. Yet it's not emptiness that grows. It's possibility. Space is not nothing. It's the stage where everything happens, the invisible weave that allows galaxies, light and time to exist at all. When cosmologists measure the rate of this expansion, they find something astonishing. It's accelerating. The universe is not slowing down. It's opening wider, faster, as if the breath of creation deepens with every moment. This quiet acceleration, driven by what we call dark energy, is still a mystery. It makes up most of everything, yet we cannot see it, touch it, or explain it. And perhaps that's fitting. The universe began in mystery, and it continues to move through mystery. If you listen closely, not with your ears but with your calm attention, you might feel that motion reflected in your own rhythm. The rise and fall of your chest mirrors the cosmic breath. You inhale, the universe expands. You exhale, the stars drift farther away. In that harmony there is peace, the understanding that you and the cosmos move to the same invisible rhythm. Everything we see in the night sky exists inside a sphere of light roughly 93 billion light-years across. It sounds endless, but it isn't. It's called the observable universe, the region from which light has had time to reach us since the moment space and time began. Beyond that distance, photons simply haven't arrived yet. Their journey is still unfolding through expanding space, too far, too young in cosmic time for our eyes to know them. When we look outward, we aren't staring into space as it is now, but as it was long ago. The Andromeda Galaxy we admire tonight shone that light 2 million years before humans learned to walk upright. The farthest galaxies we've glimpsed through telescopes are ancient beyond imagination. Their glow began its path billions of years before Earth formed. Every point of light is a fragment of time, a record, not a presence. So our edge of the universe is not a wall or a border. It's a horizon of knowledge, a limit drawn by the speed of light in the age of everything. Just as a traveller on Earth sees the sea end at the horizon, though it truly continues, we see the cosmos curve away into darkness, because our perception cannot follow further. Beyond that, space may stretch forever, infinite, unbounded, still expanding faster than light can reveal. This means that right now, there are places whose light will never reach us. Entire galaxies already drifting beyond communication, like distant memories receding into dream, yet they exist, real, vast, unknowable. The observable universe is only a small window in an immeasurable expanse, a glowing island surrounded by invisible ocean. And through that window, every photon that reaches your eyes tonight is a quiet messenger from eternity, whispering how far light can travel before it fades into silence. Light is the oldest traveller we know. It moves with perfect patience, never hurrying, never resting, always carrying the memory of where it began. Every beam of starlight is a story written long ago, still making its way across the widening sea of space. When you look at the stars, you're not seeing them as they are, you're seeing them as they were. The light that touches your eyes tonight began its journey, perhaps before your ancestors ever spoke their first words, before Earth had its current shape, before our sun was born. In this way, light is time itself, made visible. It bridges distances not just in space, but in history. The galaxies shining faintly at the edge of our sight are ancient echoes, their glow stretched and softened by billions of years of expansion. The deeper we look, the further back we peer, until we see the universe as an infant, hot, dense, radiant beyond comprehension. Astronomers call light the cosmic messenger, because nothing else can carry information across such vastness. Gravity shapes the stage, but light tells the story. Yet even light has limits. As space expands, its waves are stretched, turning blue light to red, red to infrared, until it fades into invisible warmth. It's as if the universe hums a song that slowly lowers in pitch as it grows older. So when you gaze upward, remember that you're seeing history unfold backward. The nearest star might show you its face from a few years ago. The faintest glow might be the first whisper of creation. You're surrounded by the past, carried to you on currents of light. Each photon that reaches you is a survivor of time, a memory of a moment that once existed, a reminder that even in darkness the universe is always communicating. There is a faint glow that fills all of space, not from stars, not from galaxies, but from the birth of everything itself. It is called the cosmic microwave background, the oldest light in existence. When we tune our instruments to detect it, we are looking back nearly 14 billion years to a moment when the universe was only a newborn, glowing with the warmth of creation. This light is everywhere, in every direction, woven into the fabric of space like an ancient echo that never fades. In the beginning, the universe was too hot and dense for light to travel freely. Atoms couldn't hold together. Photons bounced endlessly among charged particles, trapped in a glowing fog. But as expansion cooled everything, hydrogen and helium began to form, and light could finally move, free at last, streaming outward in all directions. That first release of light still moves through us today. The faint static on an old television, the subtle hum detected by satellites, all of it is the afterglow of the Big Bang. When scientists map this background radiation, they see tiny variations, like gentle ripples on a cosmic ocean. Those ripples are the seeds of everything: galaxies, stars, even us. From slight differences in temperature, gravity began its quiet work, pulling matter together, shaping the universe we now inhabit. Every cluster of stars owes its existence to those early tremors of light. It's humbling to realize that the oldest light has never stopped traveling. It passes through your body right now, invisible but constant, a silent guest from the dawn of time. When you close your eyes, imagine that faint warmth, the universe's first whisper, brushing softly against you. You're living within its glow, part of the same unfolding story that began when light first escaped the dark. Beyond the cosmic microwave background lies a region we cannot see, a veil not of darkness but of impossibility. Light from beyond that boundary has not had enough time to reach us, and perhaps never will. The space beyond our observable horizon isn't empty, it's simply hidden, receding faster than any signal could ever travel. The universe expands not into silence, but into inaccessibility. What lies beyond that glow may be more of the same: galaxies, stars, endless fields of dark matter. Or it could be something utterly different, a realm of physics that our instruments cannot yet imagine. To look toward that boundary is to confront the limits of knowledge itself. Even our most powerful telescopes, even the finest equations, reach only so far before fading into speculation. The light we detect has been stretched thin by billions of years of cosmic expansion. Beyond it, the wavelengths grow so long, so faint, that they blend into the background hum of existence. Out there, beyond that ancient light, the universe continues, but without witnesses. Some scientists call this the unobservable universe, but the word unobservable feels too sterile for something so majestic. It is a mystery alive with potential, a sea of unseen stars, a field of quiet creation still unfolding beyond our reach. Perhaps there are other galaxies expanding too fast to ever meet our gaze, entire constellations whose light will never cross the cosmic gulf. And yet, knowing that such regions exist fills us not with loss, but with awe. It means that creation is larger than perception, that reality exceeds imagination. Somewhere, beyond the farthest photon, space continues to breathe. Its rhythm remains the same, its silence still carrying the hum of that first expansion. Even the unseen parts of the universe are still part of the same eternal flow. What is the shape of everything? It sounds like a question with a simple answer. Maybe the universe is flat or round or curved like a bowl. But space doesn't follow the rules of our hands or eyes. It bends and folds according to mass and energy, invisible geometry shaped by gravity and expansion. When we talk about the shape of the universe, we're really describing the way it curves on itself, the way light travels through its vastness. Scientists have long searched for that curvature, measuring how galaxies align, how ancient light bends, how the cosmic background drapes across the sky. The results so far suggest something astonishing. The universe appears flat on the largest scales. Not flat like a piece of paper, but flat in the sense that two parallel beams of light, sent endlessly into the void, never meet and never diverge. In such a cosmos, space stretches without boundary, extending forever in every direction. But even if it is flat, that doesn't mean it's infinite. It could wrap around in ways that our senses can't perceive, looping back on itself like a three-dimensional horizon. Imagine walking on Earth. From your point of view, the ground looks flat, but travel far enough and you return to where you began. The universe may be the same, only in dimensions beyond our intuition. No wall, no edge, just curvature so subtle we mistake it for endlessness. This question, whether the universe is finite or infinite, may never have a definite answer. But perhaps that's what makes it beautiful. The cosmos doesn't owe us simplicity. It offers us wonder instead. Its geometry is the quiet art of existence, a shape without outline, a form without border. Wherever you look, space flows smoothly into more space, light into more light, mystery into more mystery. And in that endlessness, we find the gentle truth that everything, even infinity, has its own kind of symmetry. Imagine sailing an ocean with no shore, no beginning, no final horizon, where water meets land. You could travel forever, always moving forward, yet never reaching an edge. That, perhaps, is how our universe truly is. Not infinite in the way our minds imagine endless numbers, but boundless, without walls or borders. You can move endlessly through it, and never find where it ends, because there is no outside to reach. This is one of the most difficult truths for human intuition to accept. We live in a world full of containers, rooms, bodies, seasons, stories. Every experience has a start and finish, a frame around it. But the universe itself is not inside anything larger. It is not floating in space. It is space. There is no edge to cross, because crossing implies another side. The universe doesn't end. It just continues, folding upon itself, an unbroken field of being. Physicists sometimes use the image of a sphere's surface to explain it. A sphere has no edge, yet it's finite. You can travel its curve forever. Our universe could be similar, but in 3 dimensions rather than 2. Its geometry allows endless motion without borders. You could, in theory, fly straight ahead and eventually return to where you began, not because you hit an edge and turned, but because the cosmos curved gently back upon itself. It's comforting in a way to know that reality may have no hard limits. The idea of a universe without edges invites a quiet kind of peace. There's no wall to crash against, no outer boundary to confine existence. Only flow, a continuous unfolding like ripples that never stop spreading. When we look at the stars, we're not looking out from the centre of anything. We're looking within the same infinite field that everything shares. The universe is not something we live inside. It's something we are part of, endlessly connected, endlessly flowing. If the universe truly curves back upon itself, then somewhere in the farthest reach of imagination, a beam of light you send today could one day return from behind you. You might not recognize it, stretched, dimmed, its wavelength softened by eons of expansion. But in theory, it could circle the cosmos and find its way home. In this sense, the universe could be an infinite loop, a grand circuit of light and gravity, where every path is both endless and connected. It's an idea both scientific and poetic. Mathematically, it's possible that space folds around itself like a higher dimensional loop. No center, no edge, just continuous flow. Philosophically, it feels like a reflection of life itself. We move forward, believing in linear time, yet everything we experience returns in some form. Matter recycled, energy transformed, memories echoed in the next generation of stars. The universe, too, is a cycle of renewal. Imagine setting out in one direction, forever. You'd pass galaxies drifting in silence, clusters thinning into lonely voids. You'd travel for billions of years, through epochs where stars are born and die. And if space is curved just so, your journey could one day bring you back to your own origin. Not because you turned around, but because there was never a true straight line. Every step through the cosmos is a step along a curve too vast to perceive. We may never know for certain whether this looping reality is true. But the thought itself brings a strange comfort. Nothing is truly lost, only transformed. Perhaps even light, the purest traveller, never escapes forever. It only drifts in great circles of time and space. And if that's so, then every beginning eventually meets its own reflection, softly, without finality. In a universe without edges, there are no destinations, only returns, only continuations, only flow. One of the hardest ideas to grasp about the universe is that it has no centre. When people imagine the Big Bang, they often picture it like fireworks, matter exploding outward from a single point into empty space. But that isn't what happened. The universe didn't expand from somewhere, it expanded everywhere at once. Every point of space was and still is the centre of its own unfolding. Think again of the balloon analogy. If you draw dots on its surface and inflate it, each dot sees every other moving away. There's no special dot at the centre of the surface. The centre lies in another dimension entirely, outside the balloon's skin. The same is true for us. When astronomers observe distant galaxies receding, it's not because we're at the centre of an explosion. It's because space itself is stretching, carrying all galaxies apart evenly. Every point in the universe experiences expansion just as we do. This means that wherever you are, here on Earth, or in a distant galaxy halfway across the cosmos, the view looks roughly the same. Everything appears to drift away from you. You are, from your own perspective, the centre of expansion, and so is everyone else. That's the quiet symmetry of creation. Every observer is the heart of their own horizon. There's something deeply humbling and strangely comforting about that. We are not located in a privileged spot. We are part of a cosmic fabric without hierarchy or edge. You're not at the outskirts of anything, nor at its middle. You simply are, woven into the motion itself. In this view, the universe isn't an explosion spreading from a point. It's a living expansion, a pulse with no origin. Each galaxy, each atom, each moment unfolds outward, like ripples from everywhere at once. The cosmos has no single heart, because it beats entirely. As the universe expands, something subtle yet profound happens. The farther a galaxy is, the faster it moves away. Beyond a certain distance, its recession speed exceeds that of light itself, not because it's breaking any rule, but because the very fabric of space between us is stretching. Over time, this means that many galaxies will slip beyond visibility forever. Their light, already on its way, will continue to arrive for a while, but eventually even those last photons will fade into silence. Billions of years from now, an observer in our galaxy will see fewer and fewer cosmic neighbours. The Milky Way and the Andromeda Galaxy will merge, forming a new elliptical system adrift in an ever-darkening void. Beyond that, the rest of the universe will have receded so far that not even its faintest glow can reach us. The night sky, once glittering with billions of galaxies, will become quiet and nearly blank. It sounds lonely, but it's not tragic. It's simply the natural rhythm of expansion, creation's way of giving each island of matter its own stillness. The universe doesn't close, it drifts apart, like ripples spreading across an infinite pond, each wave carrying memories of its origin before fading into the distance. In a sense, we live in a brief and privileged era, one where the sky still reveals its immensity, where light from the beginning still touches our world. Future civilizations, if they exist, may never know this sight. Their telescopes might find only the soft darkness between stars, the faint hum of the local galaxy, and nothing beyond. Yet perhaps that isolation isn't sorrowful at all. Maybe it's peace. Maybe, when all the noise and motion fade, what remains is stillness, a universe finally resting, each of its parts drifting into quiet independence. Like a long breath that has reached its calmest exhale, the cosmos will not vanish. It will simply be vast, silent, and content in its own expansion. Every process in nature drifts toward calm. Hot becomes warm, motion becomes still, order dissolves into balance. Physicists call this entropy, the universe's quiet tendency toward evenness, toward the spreading of energy until everything rests at the same gentle temperature. From the fires of stars to the smallest vibration in an atom, all motion eventually cools. Right now the cosmos is still young and bright. Stars burn fiercely, galaxies dance, black holes hum with radiation. But entropy is patient. Over unimaginable spans of time, energy spreads thinner, light stretches farther, and the contrast between hot and cold fades. Every star will one day exhaust its fuel. Every flame will dim. The universe will not die in fire, but in perfect balance, a kind of universal stillness where no work can be done, because nothing will have the strength to change. Scientists call this the heat death of the universe, though the name is misleading. It is not heat that remains, but the absence of difference. Everything cooled, everything even, a quiet equilibrium. It's easy to imagine this as sad, a cosmic winter that never ends. But entropy is not destruction, it is rest. The same principle that guides stars toward stillness also allows clouds to form, waves to settle, hearts to slow into sleep. It's the universe's way of exhaling. Even now you can feel that law within yourself, in the way the body relaxes when you let go, in the way thought softens when you stop chasing meaning. Entropy is not chaos. It's the gradual return to calm. And someday, when the stars fade and the last warmth dissolves into vast neutrality, the universe will simply become what it was always meant to be. Still, balanced, at peace. In that final quiet, every atom will have found rest, every wave of light will have stretched into silence, and maybe, in that endless equilibrium, the cosmos will not have ended at all. It will have fallen asleep. Every star you see tonight is temporary, even the most brilliant among them, the blue giants, the fiery suns, are mortal flames in a cosmic darkness. They live by burning their own essence, fusing hydrogen into heavier elements, giving off light and warmth until their fuel runs low. When that happens, the flame softens, the core cools, the glow fades. Like candles after a long vigil, the stars begin to go out one by one. The smaller ones fade gently, slipping into quiet embers called white dwarfs. The massive ones die spectacularly, collapsing into neutron stars or black holes, not as punishment, but as transformation. Every N marks a beginning of something else: carbon, oxygen, iron, the elements of life, forged in the heart of a dying star. The atoms in your body, in the air, in the ocean, were born from those ancient endings. You are literally made of starlight that has already died and been reborn. In time, as the universe expands and ages, new stars will form more slowly. The raw material for creation, clouds of hydrogen, will thin out. Galaxies will dim. The great cosmic fireworks will quiet. The night sky, now alive with glitter, will become sparse and calm, a few red embers glowing where constellations once shimmered. It won't happen soon, not for trillions of years. But the direction is clear, a slow, graceful dimming, a soft turning inward. The universe will not end with violence, but with exhaustion. The light will fade not because it was defeated, but because it has given all it could. And yet, there's something peaceful in that image, a cosmos at rest, its stars having fulfilled their purpose. Each one burned, warmed worlds, and left behind the seeds of life. When the last star finally flickers out, it will not be a tragedy. It will be the completion of a long, beautiful breath. The darkness that follows will not be empty. It will be full of memory, full of everything that once shone. Far into the future, when the last living stars have faded, the universe will enter a new era, one of deep, patient quiet. The white dwarfs, those dim remnants of once radiant suns, will continue to cool for trillions upon trillions of years. Their light will weaken from faint red to invisible infrared, and finally to nothing at all. They will become black dwarfs, dense, cold spheres floating in eternal darkness. These remnants will no longer shine, but they will still exist, scattered like forgotten coals in an infinite night. The universe will be filled with them, silent witnesses to everything that ever happened. Each black dwarf will hold within it the memory of its star's brilliance, the ashes of its fusion, the echo of its warmth. The cosmos, once blazing with light, will then be a cathedral of shadow. Time will still pass, though there will be no dawns or sunsets to mark it. Matter will move only rarely. Collisions between black dwarfs will be unimaginably rare but not impossible. When they happen, for a brief instant, light may return, a flicker, a spark, the faintest echo of what once was. Then silence again. Scientists estimate that this age, the era of black dwarfs, lies so far ahead that it exceeds our ability to comprehend. Quadrillions of years, then more still. By then, even the memory of the Milky Way will be gone, its shape dissolved, its name meaningless. But even in that thought, there is a strange comfort. The universe will not end suddenly. It will fade gracefully. Every stage, from brilliant fire to quiet ember, is part of one continuous story. Just as embers glow long after a flame has gone, the cosmos will continue to exist in that tranquil darkness. A vast, sleeping sea of cooled stars resting at last after an eternity of shining. And somewhere, even in that stillness, the laws of physics will whisper softly, keeping time, keeping balance, as the universe drifts into its longest, most peaceful night. When the last faint stars have cooled into darkness, and every black dwarf has surrendered its final whisper of warmth, the universe will enter an age without light. It will not be a sudden extinguishing, but a gradual dimming, a slow dissolve into calm. Galaxies will have faded into invisibility. The great spirals and clusters that once adorned the cosmic night will be gone, leaving behind only isolated remnants, black holes, cold matter, and the quiet geometry of space itself. This will be the era of silence, not because sound will cease, but because there will be nothing left to carry it. No air, no light, no echo, only stillness stretched across unimaginable distances. Time will continue to flow, but with nothing left to mark its passage, it will feel like an endless pause. The universe, once so alive with motion and creation, will have entered a state of deep meditation. Yet even in this silence, things will still happen. Black holes will slowly evaporate, releasing their energy into faint radiation, a final sigh of existence. Particles may still collide, rare and fleeting, producing a spark before disappearing into emptiness. Quantum fields will hum softly even in the void, their fluctuations tiny but eternal. The universe will not be dead, it will simply be still. If consciousness could exist in that far future, it might find the quiet strangely beautiful. There will be no more chaos, no more creation, no more separation, only balance. Every motion will have ceased, every difference smoothed away. Entropy will have done its work, not as a destroyer but as a peacemaker. And perhaps in that stillness the cosmos will resemble the moment before the beginning, the same poised calm that existed before the first light. The cycle may not be over, only resting. Silence does not mean absence, it means readiness, the waiting breath before the next awakening. Infinity is not a number, it's a direction, a motion without destination, a horizon that retreats as you walk toward it. When we speak of the universe lasting forever, what we really mean is that time stretches endlessly forward, with no final moment to hold. But does infinity ever end? Can something without boundary truly reach completion? To human minds, the idea feels impossible. We are creatures of limits, lives that begin and end, hearts that beat a countable number of times. We measure meaning in cycles, not in eternities. And yet the universe itself seems to play by different rules. Its expansion continues, its time flows on, never repeating. In the mathematics of cosmology, infinity is not something to reach, it's something to approach endlessly, a path that always has one more step, one more breath, one more drift into distance. In that endlessness, everything changes form. Matter decays, energy spreads thinner, even black holes. Those great anchors of gravity will eventually evaporate. Nothing escapes the slow hand of time, yet that is not an ending, it's transformation. The universe does not stop. It evolves beyond our ability to imagine what existence even means. Perhaps it will fade into a vast, quiet quantum mist, particles flickering in and out of being, each vibration another echo of creation's first pulse. So, does infinity ever end? Maybe not in the way we think. It doesn't stop. It flows. It becomes less about distance or duration and more about continuity. A wave that never collapses, a melody without a final note. And within that infinite unfolding we find a mirror of ourselves, because every moment you live, every breath, every thought, is its own fragment of eternity. You will never experience all of infinity, but you are part of it. The atoms in your body will never vanish. They will change, travel, rejoin the flow. In the cosmic sense, nothing truly ends. It only drifts softly into another form of forever. Some physicists suggest that our universe may not be the only one. Beyond the horizon of our reality could lie countless others, entire universes with their own laws of physics, their own flows of time, their own quiet beginnings. This idea is called the multiverse, and though it cannot yet be proven, it hums softly at the edges of modern cosmology, like a whisper just beyond hearing. If true, our universe might be only one bubble in a vast cosmic sea, expanding among countless others, each drifting apart forever. Some might have more dimensions than ours, or stars made of different kinds of matter, or even physics so strange that light itself behaves differently. And somewhere, far beyond reach, there could exist universes where the constants of nature are just slightly altered, where atoms never formed, or where gravity sings a gentler tune. In this view, the Big Bang wasn't the beginning of everything, only the beginning of our bubble, one wave in an infinite ocean of creation. Perhaps new universes are still being born, their own space-time blooming from quantum fluctuations like cosmic flowers. Each expands, cools, and evolves in its own rhythm, unaware of the others. To us they are invisible, forever disconnected, but they could be real, vast, and as alive as ours once was. It's a humbling thought, that even infinity might not be all there is, that beyond our endlessness lies another, and another, in layers too deep for language. We might never see those universes, never send a signal across that void, yet somehow, Knowing they could exist widens the heart. The cosmos grows not smaller through mystery, but larger through possibility. Perhaps the multiverse is not meant to be understood, only imagined, like the sound of distant waves in an unseen sea, each wave a world, each crest a birth. And somewhere among them, ours drifts quietly, glowing, temporary yet complete. If the multiverse truly exists, then each universe is like a bubble adrift in an infinite cosmic foam. They expand, shimmer and move apart, but never touch. Between them lies not space as we know it, but something beyond measure, a gulf where time itself may have no meaning. Each bubble contains its own reality, sealed within its own laws, unreachable by any signal or traveller. They are neighbours that will never meet, worlds that will never share a sunrise. Our universe, too, floats in that endless expanse. We will never see beyond our cosmic horizon, never exchange light or sound with another bubble. Even if infinite universes exist to us, they will remain forever silent. It's an isolation so complete it transcends loneliness. And yet, it's strangely comforting, because in that vastness our existence still matters. Every spark of awareness, every heartbeat, every question asked beneath a night sky becomes part of the grand pattern of being. If countless universes drift unseen, then each one adds another verse to the eternal poem of creation. Ours happens to be the verse where stars shine, where matter clumps together to form galaxies, where life awakens to wonder. In another, perhaps there is no light. In another, time may flow backward. In some, nothing at all may exist, only still potential. But here, in this one, you are listening, breathing, and thinking about the edge of everything. That simple fact connects you to something far greater than you can ever witness. Even if these universes never meet, they are still part of one totality. An ocean where each wave knows nothing of the others, but all move to the same unseen rhythm. Maybe that rhythm is creation itself, the eternal flow that needs no purpose, no witness, no end. So we listen to that quiet rhythm, knowing we will never hear the whole song. It doesn't matter. The beauty lies in the knowing that something, somewhere, keeps singing. When we talk about the edge of the universe or the end of time, we're really confronting the limits of our own imagination. The universe itself may have no boundary, but our minds, evolved to navigate rivers, mountains, and days, instinctively draw lines where there are none. We invent beginnings to understand stories and endings to give them meaning. Without those boundaries, we feel lost, as though the map of existence suddenly dissolves into mist. Yet perhaps the borders we imagine are not mistakes. They are bridges. They help us translate the infinite into something the human heart can hold. We draw circles around ideas so vast that otherwise they drown us. When we picture the universe ending, we're not describing a physical horizon. We're giving shape to mystery, naming the unnameable so we can sit quietly beside it. Every scientific boundary has turned out to be temporary. The edge of the Earth gave way to new continents. The limits of the Milky Way revealed other galaxies. Even the horizon of the observable universe is not an end. It's simply where light hasn't yet arrived. What we call the edge is just a frontier of understanding, a place our curiosity hasn't reached yet. And so, in a way, the boundaries we imagine are acts of creativity, not confinement, but connection. They remind us that the unknown isn't a void, it's a canvas. The universe invites us to keep redrawing the map, to keep widening the circle, to accept that mystery is not the absence of knowledge but the presence of wonder. When you close your eyes and imagine the cosmos stretching without limit, remember this. The edge you see is made not of matter, but of thought. Beyond it lies everything, waiting patiently for us to dream a little farther. We often speak of the universe as if it were a container, something that holds galaxies, light and time inside it. But the truth is softer, more fluid. The universe is not a box or a stage, it's a process. It isn't something that exists so much as something that happens. A continual movement of energy, transforming endlessly, like a current that never pauses. Matter becomes light, light becomes motion, motion becomes space, space expands, cools and curves, giving rise to new forms again. Nothing is static. Even atoms, or which feel so solid, are mostly emptiness, their particles dancing in a constant rhythm. On every scale, from the swirl of galaxies to the flicker of quarks, everything flows. There is no still point, no absolute here. Only motion, only relation, only the endless transformation that binds all things together. This is what ancient philosophers once intuited, and modern physics now confirms. Reality is not a collection of things, but a pattern of change. The universe is a verb, not a noun, a song, not a sculpture. To ask where it ends is like asking where the ocean stops being the ocean. It doesn't. It only flows, shifting from wave to mist to rain to river, changing form, never ceasing. When you breathe, when you think, when you fall asleep, you're part of that flow. The air you inhale is passed through stars, through leaves, through oceans. The warmth in your body was once light from the sun. You're not in the universe. You're the universe, for a fleeting, luminous moment, taking form as you. So perhaps it's not the universe we should imagine ending, but our idea of separation. When we see reality as flow, not as place, endings dissolve into continuity, life into time, light into dark, one great movement still unfolding. Every beam of a light that has ever existed is still on its journey. When a candle flickers in the dark, its photons rush outward at the fastest speed nature allows, and they never stop. They pass through windows, glide across miles of air, drift into the cold reaches of the upper atmosphere, and then continue through interstellar space forever. Even when their glow becomes too faint for any eye or instrument to detect, they still move, carrying with them the quiet memory of their beginning. The same is true for starlight. Every shimmer you see in the night sky is a message in motion, a wave of energy that left its home long ago and has never ceased to travel. Some of that light began its journey before the earth was born, before the sun existed, before life had a name, and even after it passes your eyes it continues, beyond your roof, beyond the atmosphere, beyond the galaxy. Light never stays. It only moves forward, always seeking the next open space. In the distant future, when the last stars fade, their final photons will keep going too, crossing a universe that grows colder and darker with each passing age. They will stretch thinner and softer as space expands, their wavelengths lengthening like notes slowing in a final lullaby. But they will not disappear. They will simply fade into a gentler form, a background hum of energy, a whisper of light too soft for any world to see. There's something deeply poetic in that. Every moment of brightness that ever was, from the glow of your lamp to the fire of ancient suns, still exists somewhere, still travelling, still flowing outward. Nothing luminous is truly lost. It just continues, endlessly, becoming part of the fabric of all that is. And so, when you look at the stars, you're not only seeing the past, you're also sending your gaze into eternity. Your own reflection, your small act of looking, joins that infinite exchange. Light travels on, and so do you, both part of the same unending motion. Infinity comforts and unsettles in equal measure. It promises that there will always be more time, more distance, more possibility. Yet it also humbles us with the realization that we will never grasp it fully. To live within an endless universe is to stand between awe and insignificance. We are fleeting, but the cosmos goes on without pause, and still, somehow, that contrast makes existence more beautiful. The paradox of endlessness is that it contains both permanence and impermanence at once. Everything changes, yet nothing truly leaves the flow. Stars burn out, galaxies fade, atoms decay, but the essence of energy and motion remains, transformed but unbroken. The universe doesn't vanish, it just rearranges itself in quieter forms. What seems like an end is only a change in rhythm. Perhaps infinity is not about size, but about continuity, the way every moment is connected to every other, forming an unbroken thread of becoming. Even now, as you breathe, particles within you have journeyed through countless lives, forged in stars, carried through oceans, cycled through plants and creatures before finding their way to you. When you exhale, you return them to the flow. You're a link in the chain of infinity, not apart from it. So when people ask, does the universe have an end? Maybe the truer question is, can anything that flows ever stop? A river might freeze, evaporate, or join the sea, but the water remains, always changing, always returning in some form. The cosmos is the same. It is motion without boundary, a song with no final chord. To realize that is to find calm within vastness. We don't need to comprehend infinity to belong to it. We only need to breathe within it, to know that our brief moment of awareness is also part of forever, glowing softly, then drifting onward into the quiet continuum of all things. Across the deepest stretches of space, galaxies are not scattered at random. They form vast, delicate structures, filaments of light and matter woven together like threads in an endless tapestry. Astronomers call it the cosmic web. Each filament is made of countless galaxies connected by invisible bridges of dark matter, spanning billions of light years. Between them lie immense voids, oceans of near nothingness, so vast that entire clusters of galaxies could drift inside without touching their walls. If you could step outside the universe and look down upon it, you wouldn't see chaos. You would see order, a glowing network, faint and intricate, pulsing softly with the light of creation. The Milky Way, our home, is just one bead of light on one slender strand among billions. Every galaxy, every star, every atom we know belongs to one of these threads, bound together by the unseen gravity of dark matter. It's astonishing how something so immense can mirror the smallest structures we know. The branching arms of the cosmic web resemble the neural connections in a human brain, or the veins of a leaf. It's as though nature repeats its patterns across all scales, from cells to galaxies, from neurons to universes. Each filament, each connection, is another expression of the same universal rhythm, complexity emerging from flow. When you imagine this web stretching across infinity, you can almost feel its vibration, silent, patient, alive. The universe is not a static emptiness, it's a living structure, constantly expanding yet retaining its pattern, a frozen explosion that still dances, and in that grand design, we are not lost. We are part of it, a single point of light within a filament that stretches across time. Every thought you have, every breath you take, occurs inside one shining thread of this vast cosmic fabric. You are woven into it, inseparable, a quiet note in the universe's eternal symphony of connection. Between the luminous strands of the cosmic web lie regions of almost perfect emptiness, cosmic voids, vast and silent, stretching for hundreds of millions of light years. They contain almost nothing, a few stray atoms drifting in darkness, a ghost of radiation passing through. Compared to these voids, even the loneliest galaxy cluster feels crowded. These are the great gaps of existence, the spaces between the threads of creation. At first, the idea of such emptiness feels unsettling. We imagine voids as absence, as cold hollows where nothing happens. But in the language of the universe, emptiness is not failure, it is balance. Without the voids, there would be no structure, no contrast, no form. The filaments of galaxies glow more brightly because they rise out of this stillness. The universe breathes in rhythm, light and dark, fullness and emptiness, expansion and rest. Scientists map these voids like cartographers of silence, tracing their boundaries through the faint pull of gravity. They are not truly empty. They are the calm between storms, the space where energy spreads thin enough for equilibrium to exist. Within them, time stretches more gently, unhurried by matter or motion. They are the resting places of the cosmos, pauses in the eternal flow. And perhaps, in some symbolic way, they reflect the spaces within us. The quiet between thoughts, the moment between breaths, the hush that follows a long day. We too contain voids, not of nothingness, but of stillness. And without them, we could not perceive the beauty of what fills us. So when you think of these immense cosmic voids, don't imagine cold absence. Imagine peace. Imagine the universe closing its eyes for a moment, resting between the pulses of creation. Even in the darkest spaces where light has never travelled, there is harmony, a silence so vast it becomes its own kind of presence. When we ask where the universe ends, we are really tracing the boundary of our own understanding. The true edge is not out there, among the galaxies. It's inside us, at the horizon of thought. The universe may have no walls, but our perception does. Every question we ask is a step toward that limit, and every answer expands it just a little farther. Yet no matter how far knowledge stretches, there will always remain a space beyond it, a quiet region where imagination must take over. Our ancestors once thought the edge of the world lay at the horizon. Sail too far, they feared, and you would fall into nothingness. Today, we know that the horizon moves with us. The farther we travel, the more the world reveals itself. The same is true of the cosmos and of consciousness. The more we learn, the more we realize how vast the unknown truly is. The mind is its own universe, expanding, curious, infinite in depth. Sometimes, when we contemplate infinity, what we really encounter is the edge of our language, words trembling beneath the weight of things too large to name. End, beginning, forever. These are attempts to fit eternity into human syllables. But behind those words is a quiet knowing that wonder itself is enough. We don't need to measure the infinite to feel its presence. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine that vastness, not as something you observe, but as something you are. The boundary between self and cosmos begins to fade. Thoughts drift like galaxies, memories like stars. You realize there is no true division between your inner space and the outer one. The same mystery that shapes the universe also moves within you. The edge, then, is not where the universe stops. It's where understanding pauses and awe begins. Beyond that point, words dissolve, and only silence, the purest form of knowing, remains. The more we learn about the universe, the more it reflects us back to ourselves, its birth, its expansion, its eventual cooling. These stages feel strangely familiar. They mirror the arc of a human life, a bright beginning, a long unfolding, a slow return to stillness. We too are born from fire, shine for a while, then fade, not in defeat but in completion. The life of a star and the life of a person follow the same law. Everything that begins will one day transform. Just as the cosmos had a first moment, we each have one, the first heartbeat, the first breath. And just as the universe expands and changes, so do we, learning, aging, evolving. We gather experiences the way galaxies gather stars. We grow more complex, more luminous inside. Then, slowly, we start to quiet down. Our bodies cool, our thoughts simplify, our light turns inward. But nothing is ever lost. The atoms that once belonged to other stars now belong to us, and one day they will belong to something else. The boundary between personal and cosmic time fades when we see it this way. The same processes that shape galaxies shape our lives. Fusion, decay, renewal, all of it happens within us, just on smaller scales. The hydrogen of the universe burns in your blood. The carbon of ancient suns breathes through your lungs. You are both fleeting and eternal, a brief configuration of matter that has already lived 1,000 lives and will live 1,000 more in different forms. So when you ponder the end of the universe, you're also, quietly, pondering your own. But there's comfort in that symmetry. Neither truly ends. Both simply change. The cosmos expands into silence. We dissolve into memory, into the same flow of energy and matter that birthed us. To know this is to feel peace, the kind that comes not from permanence, but from belonging to something that never stops becoming. There is a strange calm that comes with realizing we will never know everything. For all our telescopes, equations, and theories, the universe will always keep some of its secrets. No matter how far we look, there will always be a deeper horizon, another veil of light too faint to reach. At first, that might seem frustrating, but over time, it begins to feel like grace. The unknown is not a flaw in our understanding. It is the space that keeps wonder alive. Human curiosity is endless, but so is the mystery it chases. The more we uncover, the more we realize how vast the remaining questions are. Every discovery opens a new field of unknowing, and that is beautiful. Without mystery, the universe would feel smaller, flatter, less alive. It is the darkness between stars that makes them shine. It is the unanswered question that keeps thought in motion. Science and awe are not opposites, they are partners in the same dance. Science names the patterns. Awe feels them. One measures the waves, the other listens to their rhythm. Together they form the truest kind of understanding, one that doesn't seek to conquer mystery but to live within it peacefully. So when you look at the night sky and realize how little we know, don't let it unsettle you. Let it soothe you. Let the vastness remind you that you don't need to have all the answers to belong. You are part of a story still being written, a question still being asked. There's a quiet beauty in surrendering to that, in letting go of the need to define everything and simply resting in the wonder of not knowing. Because unknowing isn't emptiness, it's openness. It's the universe whispering, there's always more. And maybe that's the gentlest truth of all, that mystery is not something to be solved, but something to be loved. Time is the current that carries everything. Galaxies drift upon it, light rides its surface, and we, for our brief moment, float within its flow. It doesn't move like a clock's ticking. It moves like water, steady, silent, impossible to grasp. You can't hold a moment any more than you can hold a wave. You can only feel it pass through you. From the birth of the first atoms to this breath you're taking now, time has been one unbroken stream. It never begins again, and it never truly ends. It only changes speed, sometimes rushing, sometimes still. Stars live and die within it. Planets turn. Rivers erode mountains. Even memories, fragile and fleeting, ride its surface like ripples that fade but never quite disappear. Physicists tell us that time and space are not separate. They are threads woven into the same fabric. When the universe expands, it stretches time itself. Every heartbeat you've ever felt has been part of that cosmic rhythm, each second a small echo of the greater pulse. We're not moving through time, time is moving through us. If you sit quietly enough, you can sense it. The gentle unfolding, the flow that never stops. The mind wants to measure it, to divide it into hours and years. But in truth, time is seamless. The past doesn't vanish, it simply merges into what follows. The future doesn't yet exist, yet it's already forming, like mist rising from a distant sea. To live in awareness of that flow is to feel peace. You don't need to fight time or chase it or fear it. You only need to let it carry you. Like a leaf on a vast river, your life moves exactly as it should, not backward, not forward, but always within the motion of everything. The river of time will take you where all things go, not to an ending, but to another bend in the infinite stream. Every atom in your body carries a story. The calcium in your bones, the iron in your blood, the oxygen in your lungs, all were forged in the hearts of ancient stars. Billions of years ago, those stars burned, lived, and died, scattering their elements across space in luminous clouds. From that stardust, new stars formed, new planets coalesced, and eventually, on one small blue world, life began to breathe. You are part of that lineage, a continuation of stellar memory. In a quiet sense, you are the universe remembering itself. The stars that once illuminated the night now illuminate your mind. Their atoms became your thoughts. Their light became your eyes. Every dream, every heartbeat, every moment of wonder is a kind of remembrance, a cosmic echo that began long before you were born. When you gaze at the sky, the stars you see are your ancestors. Their brilliance shaped everything you are. They remind you that life is not something separate from the cosmos. It is the cosmos, aware for a fleeting instant of its own beauty. You are made of the same matter as galaxies, the same energy that fuels the sun. Nothing about you is small. Even memory itself mirrors starlight. The brain, like the sky, holds constellations, patterns of connection, neurons firing in delicate rhythms of light. Some memories shine bright, others fade into the quiet background, yet all remain part of your inner cosmos. Just as the universe carries the radiation of its birth, you carry the echoes of every experience that shaped you. And one day, when your atoms scatter again, into air, into soil, into someone else's breath, they will continue to travel, to form, to remember. Nothing truly ends. It only transforms. You are not a brief spark in darkness. You are the continuation of light, the living memory of stars still unfolding their story through you. There comes a point when thinking about the universe, where the questions themselves grow still, not because the answers have been found, but because the need to ask begins to fade. The mind, having stretched as far as it can go, past galaxies, past time, past beginnings and ends, finally reaches a kind of peace. It realizes that not every mystery must be solved. Some are meant simply to be witnessed. This quietness is not ignorance. It's understanding transformed into calm. When we stop demanding certainty, we make room for wonder. The silence that follows a question is often more meaningful than any explanation that could replace it. It's the same kind of silence that lingers after a piece of music ends, not empty, but full of presence. Imagine lying beneath the night sky. The stars above you are older than language, older than memory. You could spend a lifetime naming them, charting their motion, measuring their distance. But there's another way to know them, by letting them simply exist, by feeling their light touch your skin and accepting that this too is knowledge. Science reaches outward, but peace reaches inward, and somewhere the two meet. In the moment where curiosity becomes reverence. The more we understand about the universe, the more sacred it feels. Not in a religious sense, but in the way that silence becomes holy when it's shared by everything. So if the questions ever become too heavy, let them rest. The universe is not asking to be conquered, it's inviting you to listen. Beneath all the expansion, beyond all the equations, there is a stillness that has always been there. The same stillness that fills your chest when you stop searching and simply breathe. That is the quietness beyond questions. The place where wonder no longer needs words. The farther we follow the universe outward, the more the word end begins to lose its meaning. It's a human word shaped by the way we live. Stories end, seasons end, lives end. But the cosmos does not tell stories the way we do. It doesn't pause for conclusions or wait for applause. It moves in cycles, not chapters. Every ending is a transformation disguised as silence. When scientists speak of the universe's end, they're describing a change in state, a shift from motion to stillness, from heat to equilibrium. Yet the substance of existence remains. Energy doesn't vanish. It only alters its form. Matter decays, but its essence continues in other ways, as radiation, as fields, as the faint pulse of quantum vibration. In that sense, the universe cannot truly end. It only changes its rhythm, like a melody slowing into a single sustained note. Language struggles here because it was never meant to describe infinity. Words like before, after, or end lose their shape in the vastness of cosmic time. Even the concept of nothing is slippery, for physics suggests that even a perfect vacuum still hums with energy, that emptiness itself may be full of potential. So maybe the question isn't whether the universe ends, but whether endings exist at all. Every cycle of life, from a cell's death to a star's collapse, feeds the next moment. Each silence contains the seed of sound, each stillness the potential for motion. The cosmos is not a straight line toward oblivion. It is a spiral of becoming, looping endlessly through form and formlessness. And if that's true, then the word end is simply too small. It cannot hold the scale of what continues. In the great flow of existence, endings dissolve into beginnings so completely that you can't tell them apart. The universe doesn't finish. It flows onward, quiet and eternal, without punctuation, without finality, just the soft hum of being that never truly stops. Though the universe feels ancient and vast beyond measure, it still carries the pulse of its own birth. The Big Bang wasn't a single moment that ended long ago. It was the beginning of an ongoing song, a vibration that continues to hum through every atom of space. That first flash of energy set everything in motion, and its echo still ripples quietly around us. Every beam of light, every particle, every breath you take is part of that original unfolding. In the faint microwave radiation that fills the sky, we can still hear it. The afterglow of creation, stretched thin by time but never silenced. The universe remembers where it came from. The same expansion that began 14 billion years ago has never stopped. It's still happening now in every direction with us within it. When you look at the night sky, you are seeing not just distance, but history. A memory so vast that even now, it continues to write itself across the darkness. This idea is both humbling and tender. The universe is not something that happened. It is something that is happening. The act of creation is not behind us but within us, still flowing, still unfolding. Stars are still being born from collapsing clouds. New worlds are still forming in silent nebulae. Life, in all its fragile and fleeting forms, continues to emerge from dust that once drifted namelessly through space. Even the quiet between your thoughts is part of that same echo. The calm after a wave that began at the dawn of time. The rhythm that moves galaxies also moves your heart, though at a different tempo. The pulse of creation is not gone. It simply slowed, softened, and settled into everything that exists. If you listen closely, not with your ears but with your awareness, you can feel it. A low, endless hum beneath all sound, as if the universe is still exhaling from that first breath. It has never stopped breathing, and neither have you. If the universe could be said to have a rhythm, it would be one of expansion and return, a slow, endless pulse that mirrors the heartbeat of life itself. From the first instant of creation, everything has moved to that rhythm, galaxies forming, spreading, fading, then giving rise to new ones. On every scale there is a pattern: inhale and exhale, birth and release, motion and stillness. Some cosmologists once imagined that the universe might one day stop expanding and fall back inward, collapsing into itself in a grand reversal. A big crunch, the echo of the Big Bang in reverse. Others believe the expansion will never stop, that the cosmic heartbeat will slow but never fall silent, stretching thinner forever. Either way, the rhythm remains, a motion so vast that even eternity seems to breathe in time with it. You can sense that rhythm everywhere, in the tides pulled by the moon, in the steady pulse beneath your skin, in the alternating dance of sleep and waking. The same laws that govern galaxies also guide the quiet beat of a heart. It's easy to forget that your pulse and the universe's pulse are connected, that the flow of blood and the flow of galaxies are not separate acts, but two expressions of the same harmony. Even now, the universe continues to create. Stars igniting in hidden corners, nebulae glowing like embers, energy transforming into matter and back again. It beats, softly but constantly, in the background of existence. It is not a sound, but a presence, a rhythm woven through everything. Perhaps this heartbeat is what gives the cosmos its calm, the assurance that even as everything changes, the pattern remains, a pulse that began in fire and still echoes in our quietest moments. When you place a hand over your chest and feel that steady thrum, you're touching the same rhythm that has moved through space since time began, the cosmic heartbeat, infinite, patient, and endlessly flowing. After travelling through so many vast ideas, expansion, time, silence, infinity, it feels right to return to something simple, the night sky above you. You don't need a telescope or an equation to feel its truth. Just look up. Every point of a light is a history, a distance, a message from far away. The stars seem small, but they are suns, immense and alive, burning in the deep calm of space. And between them, the dark is not emptiness. It's the canvas on which their stories glow. When you lie beneath that sky, you're looking across time itself. The faintest light may have been travelling for billions of years, only to meet your eyes for a brief instant before continuing onward. You're part of that exchange. One consciousness among the starlight, witnessing the universe witness itself. For all our instruments and science, this is the truest form of understanding, to simply be still beneath infinity, breathing in rhythm with it. The same sky that watched over the first humans watches over you. They too wondered what lay beyond the stars. They too felt that blend of smallness and belonging. The constellations may have shifted slightly. The world may have changed beyond recognition, but the quiet wonder is the same. The act of looking up connects every era, every life, every being that ever paused to think, what is all this? And why is it so beautiful? So as you gaze upward tonight, know that you are home. The atoms in your body are older than the stars you see, yet they recognize this view, as if memory itself glows faintly in the starlight. You don't need to reach for the universe, you're already within it. Each breath, each heartbeat, each soft blink beneath the sky, all of it is cosmic participation. The universe doesn't ask you to understand it, only to notice it, to feel it as part of yourself. And in that noticing you return, not to answers, but to quiet wonder, back to where you began, back to the stars. When we look into the night sky, we often feel small. The galaxies are too vast, the distance is too endless, the numbers too large to hold. But perhaps that feeling is mistaken, because every act of looking, every thought, every question, all of it is the universe examining its own reflection. We are not outside of the cosmos staring in, we are part of it, momentarily awake. Every neuron that fires in your brain is made from ancient stardust, every thought powered by the same energy that fuels the stars. The universe shaped you not as a separate observer, but as its own awareness, peering back upon itself. When you wonder if the universe has an end, that question doesn't come from outside creation. It comes from within it. The cosmos is thinking through you. This means that your curiosity, your awe, your longing to understand, they are not accidents. They are the continuation of a process that began billions of years ago. The same forces that formed galaxies now shape questions inside your mind. You are the universe in conversation with itself, asking what it is, what it means, and where it goes. It's easy to think of the universe as indifferent, but maybe that's not the whole truth. Maybe, through beings like us, it feels something. Maybe awareness is how the cosmos experiences its own beauty. Every act of kindness, every creation, every quiet moment of wonder adds to that feeling. Small ripples of meaning spreading through the sea of existence. So when you look up, don't imagine yourself as tiny. Imagine yourself as necessary. The stars shine, but they do not see. You see. You're their eyes, their witness, their reflection. You're made of the same story, the same atoms, the same light, briefly arranged into consciousness. You are the question the universe is still asking, and the answer it is still learning to understand. There is a moment, after all the wondering and the searching, when the mind grows quiet. You stop trying to measure the infinite, to name it, to reach its edges. Instead, you let it exist, vast, mysterious, and whole. That stillness is not emptiness, it's presence. It's the calm recognition that the universe needs no conclusion, no boundary, no final word to be complete. The same stillness exists in you. Beneath the rush of thought, beneath the rhythm of breath, there is a quiet that feels endless, not in distance, but in depth. When you touch that stillness, you touch the same silence that lies between galaxies, the same peace that drifts through interstellar space. It's the soundless heartbeat of being itself. You can feel it if you listen closely enough, the way time slows when you stop thinking, the way the body softens into the moment, the way awareness widens until it feels as if it contains everything. In that space, the mind no longer asks where the universe ends, because it realizes the question doesn't need an answer. The search has already brought you here, to the quiet edge of thought, where knowing gives way to simply being. This is the same stillness that has always existed, before stars, before atoms, before even light. It's the foundation beneath every movement, the silence that holds every sound. It doesn't end, because it never began. It simply is. And maybe that's what peace truly means. Not the absence of motion, but the acceptance of its flow. The understanding that you and everything you love are part of a pattern too vast to finish, too beautiful to explain. You're not separate from the stillness of the cosmos. You're its expression, breathing quietly at the edge of infinity. We began with a question. Does the universe have an end? And somewhere along this quiet journey, the question itself dissolved. Because the farther we followed it, the more it led us not to answers, but to flow. The universe doesn't end. It continues, endlessly transforming, endlessly becoming. What we once thought of as edges are simply transitions, one form melting softly into another. Look back now on everything we've drifted through. The birth of space and time, the long expansion, the fading of stars, the silence that follows, and still, motion continues. Even darkness flows, even stillness breathes. The cosmos doesn't arrive anywhere, it simply is, unfolding like a wave that never finds a shore. And within that wave, you exist, brief, luminous, awake. You're not separate from the story, you're written into it. Every breath, every thought, every heartbeat is part of the same unfolding that began when the universe first stirred. You are the continuation of that motion, expressed in human form, carrying the same light, the same rhythm, the same gentle curiosity that shaped the stars. So perhaps the universe has no end because it doesn't need one. It is a flow, not a line, a rhythm, not a boundary. It began without beginning and will continue without conclusion, just as rivers merge into oceans, and oceans become mist that falls again as rain. Everything returns, everything renews. As you close your eyes tonight, imagine that vast motion, galaxies drifting, stars pulsing, time flowing softly forward. Feel yourself as part of it, resting within the movement, safe in its continuity. Let go of edges, of endings, of the need to know where anything stops. The universe holds you. Yes, and always will. Everything flows. Sleep in that motion.